There is no place in the world at the moment where you will have such safety in the world. Because when Allah is with you, there is no better place to be.
I'm feeling like I'm still dreaming, wallahi al-azim. I'm thinking like I'm in the dream world.
Ik heb in mijn leven nooit mijn eigen als moslim gevoeld. Als deze momenten hier, tussen de moslims. Wij leven hier heel veilig.
Over the past few years, terrorist organizations have developed not only as performers of attacks, but also as storytellers. Professional media departments produce a constant flow of jihadist propaganda in which the romance of the Islamic Brotherhood is aesthetically mixed with ultra-violence. It's often filmed as though it were a video game, and these violence commercials are broadcasted freely online. This is Backlight. Welcome to the world of virtual invitation to violence.
Dames en heren, 1 minuut stilte voor de slachtoffers, alstublieft.
After the attacks in Paris, Europe has been once again confronted with jihadist extremism. One day after the Brussels attacks, the Beursplane has been turned into the backdrop for a media circus looking for answers. Investigative reporter Suad Mekenet and her colleagues at the Washington Post try to discover the identity of those who carried out the attacks.
Apparently there's some other news. Some reports say that Salah Abdeslam told them he was planning some shootings, Paris-style actually, in Brussels and surroundings. And that's with the Kalashnikovs that they found in this apartment in Forêt.
I don't think that our Paris guy is going to have any clue on this, but I can see if we can check with him.
This is probably the guy, the third guy who was in the picture. But it's just one source saying we need like a second source. Apparently he's the guy with in the picture, the airport picture with the white hat. So anyhow, we could. Intelligence services in Europe knew that some of the people who they had on their watch list were traveling to Syria and to Libya. Nobody stopped them because some of these services thought, well, when they're gone, it's actually better for us. We no longer have to watch them. But now we care because they returned. Can we call this second lawyer? I got his number.
It's not Sven Marie, right? It's the other one.
It's the other one. Yeah. Here, this was There have been some attempts to hit the media section of ISIS. We know that. I mean, there had been a couple of strikes against the media section, but it did not destroy it. It's quite the opposite. They have increased their outlets. They have radio channels now in various languages. They have channels that bring out breaking news, as they call it.
الأمر الذي لم يمنع مسعري الحروب من الوصول إلى أأمن الأماكن وأحصنها لينفذوا عمليتهم المباركة.
They consider that media is at least as important as fighting, because to them this is the tool that they need in order to reach out.
Much of extremism is about acting out fantasies. In this case, you're acting out a fantasy that has a religious dimension, that has this caliphate dimension. They're living out a fantasy. You know, terrorism is theater. It's in their interest to draw people into the conflict. They want more and more people to come in and be fighting in this theater.
الحمد الحمد لله الذي رزقنا أن نهاجر في سبيل الله وننضم في هذه الدولة الإسلامية في العراق والشام، ونحمد الله الذي رزقنا وجمعنا مع هؤلاء الأسود دولة الإسلام في كل مكان. ونفتح البيت المقدس منكم يا أيها اليهود، ونفتح روضة كبني إسحاق.
What's happening really in Raqqa probably doesn't resemble the propaganda they put out. But because they control all the information flow out of their territory by brutally killing anybody who they find slipping information out, you know, they can create this illusion that this perfect society is real, is happening now.
All the people we interviewed said that whenever any battle took place, they had at least 2 camera people. And what was really also a surprise to us, the media operation of ISIS is to them as important as the military operation. So in some areas, the people who work for the media operation would make more money or earn more money than soldiers.
How many hours did you watch of these videos?
Oh, I stopped counting, honestly speaking.
During her search for the origins of the ISIS propaganda, Mekenet found some escaped former ISIS cameramen. She persuaded them to talk and interviewed the cameraman who filmed this massacre of 250 Syrian soldiers.
From time to time, an emir would pass him a piece of paper. And this piece of paper would have a kind of like an address. He would have no idea what he would film. And in one case, they drove to the desert. And he said there were other members of the ISIS media section filming who he didn't know even. He filmed the scene. He basically filmed how these Syrian soldiers were killed in the middle of the desert. Yeah. I asked him, I said, didn't you feel bad that they killed those soldiers? I mean, they were unarmed, and he said, no, they were soldiers. So they were legitimate targets. But what was against Sharia law was basically that they had only their underwear on. So that was the only thing that he felt bad about in the case of the soldiers.
Mubin Shaikh knows jihadist logic inside out. As a counter-terrorism expert for Canadian National Security, in 2006 he infiltrated the Toronto 18, an Al-Qaida-inspired terrorist cell that was planning bomb attacks in Canada.
Come on in, the author of the book Undercover Jihadi, Mubin Shaikh, a former extremist who now provides expertise to the U.S. government. Mubin, welcome to the program. It's good to have you with us again.
Thank you for having me.
You provide advice on domestic terror and how to counter domestic terror. What are you telling the Pentagon and the American government to do about this once they're here? How do you find the terrorists?
I was on Twitter engaging with ISIS individuals actually all of 2013, all of 2014, and a part of 2015. I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of people, and the idea and the topic of migrants being, or operators being sent as migrants was mentioned a long, long time ago. You know, here are examples of different conversations. This is a Canadian guy that was, here we go. So he was a convert. You know, he was arrested on some criminal charges on threatening, carrying a weapon, complete nobody. He goes over and they put him in a video, and you know, they even give him the name Abu Muslim al-Kennedy. So Abu means father. So father of the Muslim Canadian. So look, read into it a bit more. He is, you know, the best of the Muslims in Canada.
My name is Abu Muslim. I'm your brother in Islam here in Syria. I originally come from Canada.
Look at the quality. Beautiful sound.
Before Islam, I was like any other regular Canadian. I watched hockey, I went to the cottage in the summertime, I love to fish, I wanted to go hunting.
I'm a normal Canadian
outdoors,
kid.
I like sports.
Look at the title, Al-Ghuraba, which is the strangers, the chosen few. You see? So you're selected, you're special. You see, you're better than the others. You were chosen. The others, they're too cowardly, they didn't come. They're not good enough Muslims like you are. You're the best of the Muslims. Now this video comes at the end of his life. I mean, anyone who has any combat experience will know that when you run a distance that long, you're gonna get killed.
He was a brother with excellent character, truthfulness, dedication, selflessness, and steadfastness. We consider him such, and Allah is his judge.
They put this guy in that situation so they could film him being killed in action.
Wait a minute, they staged his death just to make this video.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. These guys are being used for propaganda. If I'm a combatant and I'm a military guy and a guy comes from Canada and he has no combat experience, nothing, what good is he to me? What does he have to contribute to the greater Muslim picture? He's not a scholar, so nobody will take him seriously when he speaks about Islam. So the only thing he's good for is to be cannon fodder, to be killed and then used in a propaganda video like this.
Okay. Exactly. Yes.
This is James Wright Foley, an American citizen of your country. We are an Islamic army and a state that has been accepted by a large number of Muslims.
You know, we could hear that this is somebody who must have grown up in the UK.
In 2015, partly thanks to voice analysis, McKennett was able to identify Jihadi John as Mohammed Emwazi, a British computer sciences student who travelled to Syria in 2012 and became known as the ISIS executioner.
Think about what you are doing.
One of the ISIS cameramen told McKennett in great detail how the decapitation videos were shot.
The media person would show up and go to the executionist and tell him when and how to move the sword up and down until they had to take really the way in the camera, the way they wanted it. So it was scripted all the way, and only when they were sure that they had it the way and the right angle they wanted to have it, they would tell the guy, and now you can basically behead this person, now you can execute him.
You know, when I watch the real violence in these videos, I find it, just profoundly disturbing in a way that, even the bloodiest horror movie does not affect me. One of the perverse victories that ISIS wins is that it has found ways to continually up the ante on the violence.
J.M. Berger has very precisely mapped jihadist organizations' Twitter behavior during a study project in which he analyzed the data of 46,000 ISIS accounts.
We had a real explosion from like 2012 to 2013 of people signing up on social media and really visibly supporting jihadists on social media. You could look at them online, look at the official accounts, and you could see that Jabhat al-Nusra had many more followers than ISIS did online on its official account, but ISIS hashtags would outperform al-Nusra all the time, every day, by multiples of 2 and 3 and 4. And the reason for this was that there was a core group of extremely active people who we later, came to understand that these are people whose job it was to tweet for ISIS. And they were supplemented by technology. They used bots and apps to try and amplify their message. So, toward the beginning of 2014, an ISIS supporter based in Gaza who was a programmer or web developer came up with an app. When you sign up for the app, it would periodically send out bursts of tweets, and when it did that, you could send out the same tweet to thousands of accounts at the same time with the same hashtag, and create so much volume in such a short period of time that the hashtag would show up as a trending hashtag. If you put in the hashtag for the World Cup in Arabic because you were following the game, what would come up was pictures from the Clanging of the Swords 4. There you would see an execution scene would come up as an image on there when you're searching for the World Cup. Clanging of the Swords Part 4, which is the video we're watching now, is really one of the most popular jihadist propaganda films of all time. I am sure this has been viewed hundreds of thousands of times. This video has been widely viewed. It's probably been seen more than any other terrorist video. Some of the sequences that come up next are designed to look like a video game, a first-person shooter game, where you just see the gun and you see it, moving around and mowing people down, and you're trying to attract young men. That's a very effective tool for doing so. So, that first-person shooting concept is really something that we haven't seen with real violence before. We see it in video games. You might see it in a movie. Might occasionally break into this kind of first-person thing that really gives you that feeling that you're there, that you're part of this. Not only are you there, you're shooting the gun. You are behind the gun. So after this killing spree that we've gone on, we get to a location in Anbar where they've taken control of the territory, and they call a meeting. And they call to those people, they tell anybody who's a soldier with the Iraqi army, who's in the police, that if they come forward and repent and pledge their allegiance to the Islamic State, that they will be forgiven and they'll be welcomed.
نهج قويم والمواقف شاهد أمراؤنا بعدا.
But you see them embracing, they're being welcomed in. This is like very emotionally powerful stuff, and it comes after the viewer has been exposed to a lot of violence, and you're feeling kind of raw, and maybe you're confused and agitated and you don't know what to think, and then you see this scene that's feels like the opposite. It's a good cop, bad cop, all in one organization. So ISIS has sort of recognized that simple acts of violence by themselves are not a sales pitch, that you need to connect it to something. That has to have a story. And that really, one of the bigger innovations that they introduced to these things is that they have a story.
تأخذ بحجز الناس عن النار إلى الجنة شفقة عليهم فانكسر على أرضها الصليبيون بشتى أسمائهم ولما أيس الكفار من حكمهم لبلاد المسلمين بأنفسهم أوهموهم أن بلادهم قد استقلت ودسوا وكلاء لهم يتسمون بأسماء المسلمين ويتكلمون بلسانهم صورهم صور الإنس وقلوبهم قلوب الشياطين.
Over the past few years, the inviting tales told by ISIS have convinced more than 500 Belgian adolescents to go to Syria. Molenbeek has become a symbol for radicalization in Europe. Islamologist Montasser Aldeme lives there and is conducting research into jihadism among Belgian adolescents. 2 months ago, he started a center for de-radicalization in his neighborhood.
Ik denk niet dat het gemakkelijk is voor jongeren om in die 11 september tijdperk op te groeien. Dat ze hun identiteit aan het vormen waren en dat ze op een bepaald moment geconfronteerd worden met die aanslagen en met toch wel een gepolariseerde wereld. Ik was 12, 13 jaar en in die tijd was ik anti-Amerika en anti-Israël. Amerika steunde Israël onvoorwaardelijk en vanaf dat moment ga je dan geloven in geweld tegen de VS. En dan steun je de mensen die tegen de VS opereren. Zo gaat dat. En dan radicaliseer je, stap voor stap.
3 groupes de 2. 3 groupes de 2 à chaque fois pour aller dans différentes classes.
Hoeveel uur per week zit je hier?
Elke dag bijna.
En jullie doen het met z'n tweeën eigenlijk al?
Nee, met 6 of zo. 4 jongeren en ik en Geraldine.
Jij hebt gesproken met een jongen een paar dagen voordat hij zich zou opblazen in Irak.
Wel, ik begeleid zijn ouders in het centrum. Zijn ouders uit Kortrijk. En zij hadden vernomen dat hij op het punt staat om een aanslag te plegen. Dan hebben ze mij gecontacteerd en gevraagd of ik hem zou kunnen weerhouden om die aanslag te plegen. Zo eigenlijk. En dan heeft de moeder mij zijn nummer gegeven. Ik heb een maand lang geprobeerd om hem tegen te houden. Op een bepaald moment zei hij dat hij wil terugkeren naar België. Maar ik denk dat hij daar onder druk stond om het toch te doen. En sorry, mijn impact hier is groot. Maar om mensen daar ook nog te redden, is heel moeilijk. Zeker op afstand, omdat hij zich onder IS-strijders begeeft, die hem aanmoedigen om het te doen. En...
Was hij bang om te sterven of wilde hij het echt graag?
Dat is eigenlijk het bewijs dat een ideologie sterker kan zijn dan de liefde voor het leven. Dan de wil om hier nog aanwezig te zijn. Dat zij zich zodanig focussen op hetgeen wat hun ideologie voorschrijft, dat zij vergeten dat zij hier misschien nog mooie dingen kunnen beleven. En op een bepaald moment zei hij, het is voor mij ofwel de overwinning op aarde, dus het doel van IS bereiken, of het martelaarschap. Maar het was natuurlijk heel pijnlijk voor mij om dan via Twitter te vernemen dat hij een aanslag heeft gepleegd. Ik ben daar nog steeds niet goed van eigenlijk.
Je suis étudiante dans une école à Louvain-la-Neuve en tant que conseillère conjugale et familiale.
Est-ce que tu connais toi-même des familles de jeunes qui sont partis en Syrie?
Je suis obligée d'en parler. Je suis obligée de parler de ça?
Non.
Ah. Oui, j'en connais, oui, j'en connais. Beaucoup même. Donc ça me touche quelque part de près aussi. J'ai beaucoup de voisins dont les enfants sont partis, dont certains sont morts. Et s'il y avait eu plus, je pense, d'associations ou d'organismes qui avaient fait ça avant, peut-être qu'ils ne seraient pas partis, mais bon, voilà.
Radicalisering onder moslimjongeren is eigenlijk al lang aan de gang. Er zijn jongeren vanuit België vertrokken om in Irak te gaan vechten tegen de Amerikanen. Maar vandaag gaat het over grotere groepen, omdat IS het kalifaat heeft opgericht in een land. En dat is natuurlijk aantrekkelijk. En IS-leiders weten dat. Zij weten hoe dat ze bepaalde concepten moeten gebruiken. Concepten als het kalifaat om jongeren aan te trekken. Omdat ze weten dat jongeren snakken naar harmonie in een islamitische samenleving, omdat ze ontworteld zijn.
C'est quoi ce mal-être des jeunes en fait?
Moi, je pense que c'est, enfin, vite fait comme ça, je pense que c'est un désamour de la société, quelque part. C'est que finalement, ces jeunes, ils ne savent pas quelles racines est-ce qu'ils ont, d'où ils sont et à quel, enfin, où se positionner par rapport à leur appartenance au niveau de la société.
Vaak is de ideologie zonder onrecht niets eigenlijk. Je hebt eerst onrecht nodig om dan een ideologie te verkopen. En vandaag zien we in het Midden-Oosten dat er heel veel onrecht is. In Irak, in Syrië, in Libië, in Jemen. Overal is er onrecht. En daarom ontwikkelen mensen een ideologie. En de mensen die die ideologie ontwikkelen, geloven daarin.
وأمام ذلك ظن البعض أن من الممكن أن يعود الإسلام للحكم عبر الديمقراطية فسلكها كسراب يحسبه الظمآن ماء، فيما كانت ثلة أنار الله بصيرتها بوحي الكتاب، فأعلنت هذه الثلة الخلافة.
When they look at it in the bigger picture, why is the so-called caliphate appealed to? Because when the Muslim world looks around in the so-called Muslim world, they see dictators, they see corrupt rulers, they see ignorant people. And so this is, for them, they offer this as an alternative to what they see as a failed system. So how are you going to tell people democracy, democracy, democracy? What democracies are you supporting in the Middle East and in Muslim countries? You're supporting dictators. So ISIS provides an alternative to the corruption and the dictatorship that these people are seeing in their countries.
لقد حارب النصيرية أهل الشام بكل ما يملكون، فتارة بحصارهم كما فعلوا في مضايا، وتارة بقصفهم بالكيماوي، وقتلوا الآلاف من المسلمين في هذه الأرض المباركة. فهب المهاجرون الصادقون من جميع أصقاع الأرض وجاءوا لنصرة أهل الشام، فضحوا بأنفسهم وأموالهم، وتركوا أهليهم ومساكنهم في سبيل إعلاء كلمة لا إله إلا الله.
As a teenager, Mubin Shaikh joined a Salafist organization in Canada. Between 2002 and 2004, he lived in Syria and studied the Quran. But instead of becoming more radical, he met an Islamologist who was critical of his violent interpretation of the jihad and de-radicalized Shaikh during hours of study.
I spent 2 years in Syria studying the religion properly. I had a sheikh who was teaching me the interpretation of the Quran, and he broke down the arguments that I used to justify this wrong idea of jihad that these people have. Completely wrong.
When Mubin returned to Canada, the Canadian Security Service kept an eye on him. They saw him, a de-radicalized Salafist, as an ideal candidate for infiltrating the Toronto 18, an Al-Qaida cell that was planning bomb attacks in Toronto.
When I went to meet these guys, they were upset at the American invasion in Iraq, and they wanted to blame Canada too. I told them I had military training, so they said, well, look, we have a training camp that we're doing in the woods. We want you to come help us train these guys. So 2 days later, I came to this park. Let's see. Well, I remember parking right over here. So we'll actually park almost the exact spot where we were. It's been 10 years. I had some basic information. We want to hit the intelligence service, the police. But when we came here, we started to have a little bit more. You know, this particular intelligence agency, this particular police building. We came here and we remember looking at these trees, you know, and it was windy and the wind was blowing.
And that guy, Fahim, he saw you, Mubin, as a sort of the perfect trainer Allah had put on his path, or?
Yeah, actually, 2 days before I came here, when I was at the banquet hall, where there was a big gathering, and I had initially infiltrated the group, and I explained to them, look, I have this training. He actually said out loud, you know, it's by the grace of God that he sends people like you to us. And I was thinking to myself, you know, it's God sent me, but not for the reason you think he sent me.
Aren't you in danger?
I don't think so. If they came to attack me or something, they would go right back into prison, and I don't think they want that. So, of course, I was a little nervous and a little anxious because I'm a Muslim and he's a Muslim, right? He's my Muslim brother, but he's doing wrong. We camped out in the bush. We stayed in tents. We made a little fire, and we would practice, obstacle courses, jumping over, going under, jumping over. That shows that you're committed. And that was the point, is to put guys through that training to see who was committed. Here is a video of the camp. Wow, I'm surprised this is on here.
You gotta do it.
Okay, so this is my training of them. Safety is gonna be on. When you're done, you're gonna do this. However how many shots we're firing, and we'll do the exact same thing.
And who were the youngest here? I mean, the kids?
So, yeah, the youngest was 14 years old. And I told him, you're not gonna fire. He was the only guy that did not fire. And he's lucky I said that to him, because in court, when they asked me, did everyone fire? I said, one guy did not fire, and it was that young offender. How do you know? Because I told him not to. Why? Because I thought, man, this kid is here, he has no idea what's happening. So, people they blame me, but 7 people got off of their charges because of my sympathetic testimony. So it's not like I wanted to throw everyone in prison. I mean, there were young kids who were there who they didn't know what the purpose of the camp was. They were tricked by the ringleaders. Now, they don't know that there's a massive investigation going on behind them. They think they're going into the woods and playing, jihadi.
And you think a lot of kids are now tricked into going into Syria, or is that too naive? I mean,
I think they are already naive. The kids are naive. They think what they're seeing, these are heroes, right? The nasheeds are playing and it makes it sound so nice, and they want to be a part of that. Especially for a young boy, he wants to be a hero. And even in our own Western societies, we treat our militaries like heroes. So what militaries do they have that they can relate to, that they can say, oh, these are my heroes? And that's what you have. You have a deficit of heroes in the Muslim world. And so you have terrorism disguised as heroism.
Het gaat over jongeren die bepaalde islamitische concepten radicaal invullen en die gebruiken om hun vertrek te verantwoorden. In Vlaanderen heb je 150 imams, maar slechts 6, 7, maximum 10 die Nederlands spreken. Terwijl de 3e, 4e generatie jongeren geen Arabisch begrijpen. Dus daarom, ik geloof wel dat de imams hier in België gematigd zijn. Ik geloof dat, maar zij kunnen die boodschap niet overbrengen. De leefwereld van de jongeren begrijpen ze niet vandaag. In het begin zien we dat die jongeren vooral worstelen met zichzelf, dat zij ongelukkig zijn. Ik heb nog nooit een gelukkig iemand begeleid. Het zijn allemaal ongelukkige jongeren. Iemand die gelukkig is, die komt niet naar hier. Die gaat naar een voetbalmatch kijken, of die gaat genieten van zijn leven, of die gaat op reis gaan.
Il faut que je l'inclue dans notre truc et qu'elle parle de son propre cheminement, tu vois, de sa propre expérience. Montasser, ik heb hem ontmoet in februari 2015. Mijn zoon was juist omgekomen en een journalist heeft aan mij gezegd, er is een islamoloog die heeft een foto van uw zoon op zijn Twitter-account gepubliceerd. En hij zegt, hoe? En dus ik heb gezocht en dat was Montasser, die zegt dat mijn zoon was een goede guy, een goede jongen. En het was jammer dat hij was omgekomen. Mijn zoon die heeft mij opgebeld en gezegd, mama, als ik wil terugkomen, wil je mij helpen? Zegt, inderdaad, ik wil u helpen als u wil. En dacht ik, ja, maar ik mag niet, ik kan niet in België terugkomen, omdat als ik kom in België, ik zal zeker wel rechtstreeks naar de gevangenis. En ik zeg, ik zal zeker wel voor u een ticketje kopen waar u wil en ik kom u afhalen waar u wil. Hij zegt, oké, ik kom 2 uur later met u praten. En 2 uur later die is gekomen en hij zegt, nee, vergeet wat ik heb aan u gezegd, ik blijf hier met de broeders. Ze hebben gehoord dat hij wil misschien terugkomen en daarna ze zijn...
Zei hij waarom hij terug wilde komen?
Omdat hij zegt dat het was niet wat hij dacht. Il m'a dit, je voulais aller là-bas, mais c'est pas ce que je voulais. Ça correspond pas, daarover stemt niet wat ik wilde.
Het leven niet, het was harder dan hij had gedacht? Of?
Dat weet ik niet, die heeft mij nooit gezegd. En we hebben niet meer gepraat dat hij wil terugkomen. Hij zegt alleen, mama, wil je hier komen mij bezoeken? Hij zegt dan eens, als ik kom daar, ik zal nooit terugkomen naar België, je weet het. En hij zegt, nee, je mag hier komen, mij bezoeken. Kom maar, ik zou wel u willen zien. Maar dat was te laat.
Heeft u overwogen eventjes om naar Syrië te gaan?
Ja, ik ben gegaan in april 2015. 2 maanden later dat hij was omgekomen. Omdat ik wil dezelfde weg van mijn zoon dus lopen. Omdat dat was heel moeilijk voor mij.
Ik wilde zien waar hij voor het laatst was.
Het is altijd moeilijk. Hè?
Wij zijn 4 op onze band, dus
ja.
Ik schaam me daar niet voor.
Montasser heeft met hem gepraat. Voordat hij vertrekt. En hij was zeer wel zo boos tegen de maatschappij dat ze geven geen kans aan de Arabisch ook. Dat ze zijn... ze hebben veel problemen met de integratie enzovoort. Er was zeker wel een heel groot probleem van identiteit. En ik zeg, ik ben niks. Ik ben geen Marokkaans, ik ben geen België. Ik heb geen plaats.
Let's be very frank here. Why is it that thousands of people fall for a medieval reality show, basically, which is what ISIS is doing with their media propaganda? It is like a medieval reality show. They are very smart in their psychology. They understand the feelings of these young people here. In the caliphate, everybody is equal. There is no racism. You will not feel deprived of any rights because everybody is equal. Now, ISIS, in their videos, is targeting exactly this feeling.
What is the strategy against this media war?
I don't think that there is any successful strategy out at this stage. There is not. This is an asymmetric war. This is not a war that you can win by dropping bombs.
So the counterterrorism side of my brain is saying, let them talk. Let them talk. Let them make buddies with their friends here and their friends there, and we will monitor everything. And we will find out everyone, where they are, who they're friends with, what their cell phones are, what their email accounts are, and we'll monitor them. And when the time comes for us to strike at them, we have all the information we need to do that. The other hand, by allowing them to do this, you're spreading their message. You are allowing their message to spread. Now, I believe Twitter could have shut down accounts from the very beginning, but they did not.
Geraldine Hennegien in Molenbeek has established a peer group of parents of deceased jihadists. One day after the attacks in Brussels, they are gathering.
Inch'Allah.
Je ne suis pas
Merci.
bien du tout ce qui se passe.
Ah oui, ça, c'est pas évident. Hein?
J'ai pris une photo que j'ai envoyée à tous mes amis, que dans les Facebook, vous voyez quand même, cette photo-là, c'est...
C'est ça, ouais.
Ah oui.
Quand elle va pas bien.
Ah oui,
La peau.
effectivement.
C'est quoi, c'est un drapeau belge?
Ah oui.
Hey, yeah.
Je suis fière d'être belge.
Ça m'aurait étonné qu'elle ne trouve pas quelque chose à se mettre sur la tête.
Voilà les photos.
Quelle journée, hein?
Je dis même à la police que mon fils, il a intention de partir. La police, ils ont dit non, il ne va pas partir. Et il est là. Quand même, il est parti, il est décédé là-bas. Il est parti, il est décédé là-bas. Pour moi, c'est la faute de l'État belge pour mon cas parce que moi, j'ai aidé la police, j'ai collaboré avec l'État belge, l'autorité belge Gars, ils m'ont rien fait, ils n'ont pas empêché que mon fils il parte, tu comprends? Quand même, mon fils.
Allez, courage, Awa. Et vous êtes combien de parents?
On est à peu près.
Maintenant, les
40.
49 familles. Dans notre association, il y a des mamans comme Véronique, il y a des mamans comme Awa, des papas comme Olivier, il y a des mamans avec le foulard, il y a des mamans sans foulard, il y a des musulmanes comme moi et des musulmanes comme Awa, et des athées, et des catholiques comme Véronique, et des bouddhistes comme Olivier. Donc, il y a vraiment une panoplie tout à fait différente.
Ils utilisent des techniques sectaires, comme dans les sectes.
Oui, et pas seulement ça. Ils allaient donner à Bruxelles, ici, à manger aux pauvres, aux personnes qui n'ont pas à manger. Et en faisant ça, mon fils, il n'avait jamais de problème avec la justice avant. Et quand lui m'a dit « ouais, je vais donner à manger aux pauvres », moi je lui ai dit « c'est bien.
C'est bien.
C'est bien. » Mais ce que je ne savais pas, c'est que ceux qui organisaient ça, c'était des radicalistes qui leur mettaient d'autres idées dans la tête. Et progressivement, ils ont réussi à les faire partir là-bas en leur disant c'est bien d'aller défendre vos frères musulmans là-bas, c'est bien d'aller défendre les personnes opprimées là-bas, et c'est comme ça qu'il y a des jeunes qui partent.
Mais ils ont dit, c'est bien de donner à manger aux pauvres ici, mais là-bas, il y a des gens qui crèvent de faim et qui sont plus malheureux qu'ici.
Si tu veux être un héros,
Voilà.
si tu veux être un héros pour la bonne cause, pour sauver le monde, pour sauver, pour changer les choses. Ils ont mené un raid contre l'armée de Bachar en Syrie, donc près d'Alep. Et il y a eu des bombardements, ils ont eu des frappes lourdes de bombes. Et mon fils, il était devant, lui, tout à fait devant, et il a pris la déflagration, l'explosion, quoi. Et donc il est mort quasi sur le coup.
C'est un joli homme.
C'était un gentil garçon. Très gentil. Jamais violent, jamais de... Il est vraiment parti avec tout son courage pour pensant qu'il allait faire quelque chose de bien là-bas. Et c'est triste.
Alors, en tant qu'on parle ici, il y en a encore des recruteurs là dehors qui...
Bien sûr. Et il y en a encore sur Internet qui font des prêches. Donc là aussi, Facebook, Google ne jouent pas leur rôle. Ils n'arrêtent pas les vidéos de ces prêcheurs.
تم انضمامي للدولة الإسلامية وكان عمري 14 سنة ومن ثم بقيت لحتى سجلت على عملية استشهادية.
يعني ربما نجد أغلبهم إلى الآن منصرف في الألعاب، منصرف في أمور التسلية، منصرف في مشاغل الدنيا.
والله هذا الزمان زمان فتن. والله ألم تشتاقوا لرب العالمين الذي خلقكم، ألم تشتاقوا لرسول الله، ألم تشتاقوا لأحبابكم الشهداء. ورب البيت تسنى فهبوا للجنان مشمرين أحبتنا.
It becomes like a death cult. And that really is the best explanation of what ISIS is and people who follow it. It's a cult. You know, Islam is a religion. It's a great religion. What these people are doing, they're not even Muslims, these people.
Crazy, strong man, doing all that stuff.
This is hot and you're missing a child.
Missing child, Navira!
Careful.
I can't tell the future, but I can say this is a trajectory that we're headed on. And it's not a good one. There are more conflicts in the world. There's more resentment. And there are, in numbers, more youth. What are you going to do with those youth? If you don't move towards integration and preventing alienation, this is nothing what you see now. It's usually fa'ala. So I was an undercover. I put people in prison for what they were doing. And that they didn't like. The Prophet ﷺ said to his disciples, help your Muslim brother when he is the oppressed and when he is the oppressor. The companions replied, O Prophet of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we understand to help him when he's oppressed, but how can we help him when he's the oppressor? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, stop him from his oppressing.
A lot of your fellow cadets, I suppose, are not Muslims?
One of them is a Muslim. Our old regimental sergeant major was a Muslim too, but now we have atheists, Christians, Jews, some Muslims. We also have rednecks, brown people, whites, and we all get along. I can trust anyone. No one discriminates against the other. It's because we all are united for Canada. Everything, like being a Muslim, being white, that's your personal life. But being Canadian, that's your nationality. You express that with everyone else. That's why, I think why everyone gets along. Because we're all cadets, we're all Canadian. Everything else is just side stuff.